everybody, and thank you for inviting me to speak today. My name is Hayley York, and I have been living with high pain for over a decade now. I chose the title, Understand Me to Understand My Pain, because I've spent the better part of the last 10 years understanding myself, my pain, and how to express it effectively to care practitioners. I have come to realize many things through my journey with pain, and I would like to share these learnings with you today. My pain is the result of 3 separate no-fault motor vehicle accidents, all with myself as a single occupant driver, wearing a seatbelt and being hit from behind. The first accident, which was high impact, took place on July 27th, 2010. I remember it like it was yesterday. After a productive day at work, I was on my way to a dance class. I was stopped on a downward slant at one of the more accident-prone city roads in Calgary, when all of a sudden I was jolted forward at such a force that I hit the car in front of me that was already moving. The sound of the impact was like the crushing of thin aluminum. The collision was instant, the shock lingered, and the pain started as a pounding headache. 2 days later, I found myself at a clinic being diagnosed with whiplash in my thoracic spine. What started as a sharp aching in my mid-back evolved into a relentless chronic pain that has only worsened over time. Prior to the accident in July 2010, I was living a full and happy life. I'm a born and raised Calgarian who did fairly well in school, was fortunate enough to travel with my family growing up, and participated in many extracurricular activities. As a young adult in the early 2000s, my passion became dance, namely flamenco, which flourished into frequent performances and practice almost every day of the week. As well, during these years, I lived and worked in Spain for a year and completed my master's degree in the UK. Life was pretty great and I was happy. I knew who I was, what I wanted, how to get it, and I was thriving. Fast forward to July 2010 and I was no longer thriving. 2 days after the accident, I felt an aching in my mid-back between my shoulder blades, so I headed to a walk-in clinic. The first medical opinion of my condition was that I had whiplash-associated pain in my mid-back. I was given a prescription for painkillers and told to attend physiotherapy. After filling in a barrage of paperwork, the physiotherapist performed an initial examination and explained what I now know is the basic diagnosis and treatment path of a motor vehicle accident injury. I was told, the pain you feel is from whiplash. Your muscles in the mid-back sustain the bulk of the impact, Hayley. Using a combination of mobility exercises and muscle manipulation techniques, the pain should subside in a few weeks. As I was new to my injury, pain, and treatments, I dutifully attended physiotherapy sessions as recommended. Muscle manipulation was painful. Stimulation machines had little effect. Exercises brought on more pain than it helped, and certain techniques, such as the Graston method, left me with bruises all over my back. I sought a second, third, and fourth opinion, all with the same outcome. A pattern was emerging, and I wasn't happy with how things were progressing. I was in constant pain, hadn't been back to a dance class, and I was starting to lose interest in things that once captivated my attention. An overwhelming sadness came over me. I felt like I was alone in an ocean being pulled underwater by forces out of my control. My anger and sadness grew as I tried as many treatment avenues as I could while waiting months and in some cases years to attend diagnostic tests and pain-centered treatment programs. I tried traditional Chinese medicinal techniques, talked to nutritionists, massage, aromatherapy, meditation, osteopaths, you name it, I tried it. After a few years, I'd been to dozens of care practitioners and was still feeling progressively more pain. This led to the life-changing diagnosis that I now belong to the group of people who suffer from chronic pain. The diagnosis was a tough blow because it meant admitting that my life will forever exist with pain. I had learned a lot about myself over the 5 years leading up to the diagnosis, and even more about living with pain at an 8 out of 10 or higher. Here's what I knew for sure. 1, my mounting anger and sadness was me mourning the loss of the life I had. 2, Despite all of the care practitioner's best efforts, not one given reason for my pain was consistent with any other offered. And 3, each intake process asked me the same high-level predetermined questions regarding how I was feeling at the time. The intake standardized my experience with pain, which resulted in high-level predetermined treatment plans and diagnoses, none of which were effective in helping me with my pain. After a lot of trial and error, expense, and reflection, I began to take ownership of my pain management. Slowly and surely, my pain level lowered to about a 5 out of 10 on average, until December 4th, 2016. A seemingly minor accident not only set my pain level back to where it was with the first accident, but pushed it even higher than I'd ever felt it before. So back I went to appointment after appointment, being asked the same questions, undergoing the same diagnostics, and being viewed as just a patient with pain. But the fact is, I'm not just a patient with pain. I'm Hayley York, a 40-year-old who is part of a pain culture that wants to help care practitioners understand that the way I feel is not the same as the way any other person experiences pain. And what gives me relief, albeit temporary, is unique to me. Through my struggles, I thought back to my master's program, where I did a lot of work and research around culture and communications. The thesis of my dissertation revolved around the idea that culture isn't national identity. Rather, our culture is what defines each one of us. And it is these cultural groupings, such as being an athlete or an academic, combined with our own filter, like living with pain, and our perspective that shape our expectations and experiences throughout our lives. When applied to my life today, my cultural definition looks something like this. I am a middle-aged woman who lives with pain. I know I will never live pain-free. However, I want to manage my pain with as little medicinal intervention as possible. I want to be heard, not placated or dismissed. And most of all, I want to be understood. I am in a unique position as I am one person in a very small demographic of people who have lived with high pain for many years. In the past decade, I have been to well over 60 care practitioners. Apart from a couple treatment options, which I personally view as a last resort, I have reached the limits of medicinal intervention. I have accepted, although some days it is still a huge struggle, that I will always live with high pain. My goal now is to manage that high pain, and I know I can't do it alone. The last few years, I have had a consistent group of practitioners working with me on this. As each practitioner does not discuss my treatment and progress with one another, it falls to me to be the unwavering voice of my pain. It took me a long time to fully understand that I am my own advocate in my pain journey. It is my unique background and individual voice that carries my message to any care practitioners, and it is my responsibility to be as determined, specific, and expressive as possible about how I'm feeling and what I want to come out of each visit. To ensure all parties get the most out of a treatment experience, it is my obligation to be as clear as possible, as descriptive as possible when explaining my pain. This is why I urge you today to understand me, to understand my pain. I'd like to finish off by reading my victim impact statement that I wrote in July of this year. This is my expression of my current experience with pain that helped my care team better understand me and the pain that I live with. I thought I knew pain. I thought I understood how pain affected my body and being. How could a seemingly minor vehicle collision not just set me back to where I was years prior, but to a pain level I could scarcely imagine? December 4th, 2016 was a moderately warm but snowy Sunday. I was on my way to meet my parents for breakfast when I was struck by a vehicle behind me. I was turning left and stopped to let a pedestrian cross the intersection. The only indication I had that I was going to be impacted was the wide-eyed look of horror on the pedestrian's face as a vehicle hit my car from behind. My headache was instantaneous, and by the time I pulled off to the side of the road and walked towards the vehicle that hit me, an aching and throbbing began in my thoracic spine. Throughout the day, the pain radiated to my entire back. By the next morning, I had pains that I had never felt before. Shooting pain, like an electric shock, went up and down my rib cage and spine. Where my hips ached before, there was a new layer of extreme burning on top of aches and pains. My heart broke and I started crying. I had worked so hard for more than 6 years to get my pain to a manageable level, a 5 out of 10 pain level on average. In one day, my pain level was up to a 7 out of 10 and climbing. Today, I average an 8 to 10 out of 10 in pain, and those are what I consider my good days. As time has gone on, the pain has taken over in a way I never thought possible. It's unpredictable and unrelenting. It affects my digestion, hormone cycles, adrenal system functioning, and has my immune system working in overdrive all the time. Days that are a perfect storm of extreme high pain, compounded with poor digestion, blinding headaches, and other effects are completely debilitating. What energy I do have is ripped from my control and thrown to the mercy of my pain. These days are becoming more frequent. If I had to rate pain on such days, I would say I'm at a 12 out of 10. It's all I can do to take care of basic necessities. There is certainly nothing left in me to give to cooking, cleaning, or even social interactions. Many of my friendships have dwindled. I now withdraw from people when overwhelmed with pain. Where before I was happy to help anyone that needed it, I now have little patience for them. I realize on the outside I seem put together, confident, and a safe person to confide in. The truth is, on the inside, I am tortured and screaming at what I've become. My romantic relationship with my fiance, who I'm so lucky to have, is strained at times. Him watching me every day in constant high pain has greatly reduced intimacy, and the guilt I feel about the effect my pain has on him causes me to withdraw emotionally. It is so challenging to push through the emotional toll pain has taken, and to keep our relationship strong. Recently, my counselor described my life with extended, relentless pain as the chronic erosion of a person's emotions and psychological well-being. There is a certain tragic beauty in this statement and more truth in it than I would like to admit. I always viewed myself as an uncommonly strong person who was unfailingly patient, empathetic, and caring. Having gone through my fair share of personal emotional strife, I thought I was ready to deal with whatever was headed my way after that fateful day in December 2016. I could not have been more wrong. I now have more responsibilities, more worries, and more family obligations. While before the accident, I could have masterfully handled all of these stressors, I am now crippled with even more pain. Emotional stress results in increased and even longer lasting spikes in pain. I know I'm not the person I was. There is a great strength and compassion in me, but it is buried under years of hurt and anger. I'm caught on a continuous downward spiral of emotional turmoil, extreme changes in mood, crying often, and little or no patience in some situations. I draw on a grit and determination that comes from constant struggle to get through each day, but at night, I don't sleep. I wake up multiple times each night, and I have vivid, disturbing dreams. The next morning, I wake with even more pain, feeling like I got no rest at all. I start the day feeling more depressed because I feel worse, and so the cycle goes. I'm doing the best that I can, but I don't like the person I am now. Even as I write this, I'm fighting back tears. The most recent blow to hit me was the loss of my job. While I do not believe the termination was related to my pain condition, I can't help but wonder if it had some hidden effects along the way. It certainly affects the types of jobs I'm applying to now. Where I intended to pursue a career that involved travel to field sites, I'm now targeting sedentary roles because I know that's all I can physically take. Despite applications to jobs I know I'm more than capable of succeeding at, I've had no interviews in the past few months. Is it my pain holding me back? With each day that passes, I question the role my pain plays in every thought and action of mine. It's all-encompassing, terrifying, and agonizing to face. I'm at my limit of physical and emotional pain. It doesn't serve me well to dwell on if my injury and resulting pain is fair or not. The fact of the matter is, it isn't fair. There is nothing fair about feeling this low every minute of every day. Not knowing what will trigger higher pain or when, not knowing what new pains I might feel or what new body system will next be affected. My pain is not just the continuous erosion of my emotional control. It is the constant erosion of strength, health, well-being, and hope. My pain, which encompasses every fiber of my being, every aspect of my life, is a life sentence without chance of parole. I will live out my days progressively deteriorating under a prison cell of pain, watching life pass me by while I fight to cope using what little energy of it that I have left. Thank you.